Somebody pee in my wetsuit? Ugh. Everybody knows you shouldn't leave your gear in the back of the car for a couple of days after a dive trip. But sometimes it happens. Let's get this stuff cleaned up and see if I can get the smell out. You need your dive gear to work when you want it to. It can mean the difference between sitting on the boat and watching everyone else's bubbles, or enjoying that dive of a lifetime. Taking care to rinse your gear after each trip is an important part of making sure that it's reliable. Salt water can cause issues with your dive gear if you don't rinse it off. The same problem with chlorine from a swimming pool. The easiest way to take care of it? Plenty of fresh water. This is my super duper custom built Scuba rinsing thingy. It's a trash can with a hole in it. For wetsuits, dive skins, booties, hoods, anything that I wear, I just take all of my stuff, put it into the rinse tub, and fill it full of fresh water. If it smells a little funny, sometimes just a little bit of laundry detergent can go a long way. If you don't think that laundry detergent's gonna do the trick, or your gear smells really, really bad, there's a couple of options available. There's some stuff out there called Sink the Stink that's like an enzymatic cleaner, and it's actually pretty good at breaking down whatever it was that you put in your wetsuit in the first place that made it smell so bad. My gear smells like something died in it, so I'm going to add a little bit of this in there and see if that does the trick. What the heck do you need? Like, is this childproof? I need a knife. I'm not going to eat that. Is it rolling? Okay, let's try this again. Childproof cap? No. So after everything is soaked for a while, I empty out the wash water, refill the tub with fresh water from the garden hose, let it soak a little while longer, then hang everything up to dry. To keep your wetsuit from smelling mildewy, you can always hang it inside out to dry. When it comes to rinsing your regulators, check with the manufacturer first. Some regs can just be soaked in the rinse water with nothing more than a dust cap in place. Others really need to be attached to a tank and pressurized before you submerge them. My Atomics regs really need to be rinsed when they're attached to a tank and pressurized. I found the best way to do this is just to leave my BC on the tank with my regs attached and set the whole rig inside of the rinse tank. So after you finish rinsing your regs, always remember to put your dust cap back in place. This will keep any junk, water, dust, critters from getting inside the first stage of the regulator and causing some problems. I just use an extra double ender, snap it to my leash, and then hang the whole thing up to dry. Since we've already soaked the BC in the rinse tank, most of the salt or chlorine, sand, or dirt has been washed off the outside. The only other thing we want to be sure to do is to get a little rinse water on the inside of the bladder. This will make sure that we don't have any sand crystals or salt crystals or whatever on any of the dump valves or on the power inflator. There's a couple of ways to get water inside. You can just take a garden hose and hold down the deflate button, pour it in. Some of these power inflators will unscrew from the corrugated hose, and they have the same threading that you have on your garden hose, and it'll let you attach those together and fill it up directly. Another way to do it is with one of these adapters that'll attach a garden hose to the same fitting that is on most BC inflators. Just snap that into place, and when you push down the inflate button, water goes inside. After you've got some water inside and sloshed it around, make sure to let some of that rinse water flow out through each of the exhaust valves on your BC. This will make sure that no salt crystals have gotten built up or sand is trapped in here, which could cause a leak on later dives. After you finish rinsing your BC, leave the bladder partially inflated and hang it up to dry with your wetsuits. Fins are easy. I usually just toss mine in with my wetsuits or maybe with my BC regs and tank when I put everything in the big rinse tub. After they soak for a little while, I just use the garden hose and make sure that I wash out any sand or grit from the spring straps. After that, hang them up. For smaller items like lights, masks, computers, compasses, reels, SMBs, and all of that kind of stuff, I'll put it in a smaller bin like this and let it soak separately. Just use plenty of fresh water to rinse all of that salt or chlorine off of your gear. Once it's soaked and clean, hang it up with everything else. Last but not least, don't forget your tank. A lot of folks will neglect them, but salt buildup beneath the tank boots can really shorten the life of both steel and aluminum cylinders. I like to use a rubber mallet to knock the boots off of my tanks. Cheap, easy, and it doesn't scratch up the finish or flake any paint. Once the boot's removed, just take your garden hose, make sure you wash any salt buildup off of the tank butt. You can soak it in the rinse tub if you like. It's not a bad idea to lightly rinse off the valve area and the hand wheel also. My name's Carl, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you know when we've got new stuff posted. So how do you guys rinse your gear? Do you even rinse it at all? Post a comment below and share it with the rest of us.